This is the Free Zone Communiqué, transmitting from Virginia's unoccupied sector. If you think smart cities, DEI, censorship, government intrusion, bug paste, and other left-wing nonsense are no longer a possibility, think again. We've won one election with slim majorities. Our work to rebuild a free and sane America has just begun.
This is the Free Zone Communique. I'm your host, Matt Jordan, bringing hope to victims trapped behind the wire in blue cities. Be sure to catch all the footnotes at the end of this one. They're really important today. First order of business. 20 September is the first day of early voting in Virginia. While not a fan of early voting and mass mail-in because it all makes cheating easy, it's what we're stuck with right now. So Virginia, get out there and vote for Winsome Sears. Take a look at the alternatives you have across the country, and then honestly assess which of the two major parties you want representing you. We'll dig deeper into this in the next segment. But don't kid yourself. Spamberger is not a moderate. She's not. She's not even in the same zip code as moderate. She's a lefty to her core. We're making slow progress back to reason with the GOP. Let's stay on track. To my Northern Virginia folks, don't conflate voting for Dems in Richmond as the same as voting for Dems in D.C. I realize many of you think your federal jobs are enhanced with Dems in D.C. I've discussed that and kind of put that puppy to bed before, but let's assume you're right there. Dems in Richmond can only continue to fuck up your neighborhoods much more directly than Kane or Warner would, given the opportunity. There's a footnote. If you doubt me, take a look again at the mind-dulling, destructive shit your kids are being spoon-fed in your schools. Then decide, do you obey the Karens' worthless tribal delusions and vote for the Dems? Or do you go with reason and a better Commonwealth? Just stick to what is finally working and expand the GOP presence. Vote for Sears. Okay, let's get specific. I saw a great post today. It said, Charlie Kirk spent his adult life believing the left could be drawn into a reasonable conversation. The left finally proved him wrong about one thing. We saw Charlie buried on Sunday. I have been keeping my powder dry and assessing the evidence and reactions before weighing in. But all my gut reactions from that day and all the bullshit I anticipated from the left have pretty much shaken out as expected. What was not expected was the speed at which the left would return to their hateful, business-as-usual vitriol. Quite stupidly, I thought the left would sit back and at least wait until the funeral so as not to demonstrate the accuracy of the assessment you're about to see here. Do you remember the post-election soul-searching the left did in 24? Oh, they cried, we have lost touch with the mainstream. We have to dial back on the crazy and the DEI and the trans and fascist and Hitler nonsense. Then they immediately dialed the crazy back up to 10. They quickly realized that without this bullshit rhetoric, they have absolutely nothing at all to say. I believe the party elites and their master, George Soros, don't want to let go of the lunatic talk for a reason. Charlie Kirk's death was the manifestation of that reason. I contend that the left has been working toward such an event by design. They've been fervently hoping to spark just such an action by anyone with DEI or trans or Antifa garbage somewhere in their background. They continue to push for more. Their goal is simple: keep the heat up. Keep the stupid among us screaming at anyone who disagrees with them. Try to create more attacks and shootings and riots until finally someone on the right gets to the end of their patience and strikes back. It could be a GOP crazy or a normal person who just won't be stopped from walking down the street or driving their car wherever they intend to go. And bam, you have real conflict. This is the payday for the Dem elites and the tribal drones both. Now, after years of riots and attacks and moronic screaming in place of reason, the left can finally say, see, we told you the right was violent. They tried that with J6, but people no longer care about a mini riot where the only person killed was a rioter. It wasn't enough to go on. So since then, they have ratcheted up the lies about the right in the most hateful fashion in the hopes of inspiring what happened in Utah. After Charlie was killed, all the Dem bigs put out a carbon copy of the talking points issued. Quote, no place for political violence in America. Flat, meaningless, insincere. This was followed almost across the board with more speech intended to stoke the coals. The left using, quote, fascists and Hitler and threats to democracy and existential threat. An order of magnitude more than they were prior to 10 September because they want another one. They want things to continue to deteriorate until both sides become the animals, which to date only the left side is. The lefty message falls just shy of attack the right wing. They're the worst people in history. Their 90-minute mini riot 4 years ago was worse than 9/11 and the Civil War. We must stop at nothing to end this existential threat. And then after each incident, they inspire. They speak against violence in flat and insincere terms. The major newspapers and networks already have pre-written HFOs on file ready to support the Dems when they can finally blame one Republican, or better, MAGA, for the same shit the left has been doing since Barry O took office. There's a footnote. With the blessing of people like Sandy Cortez, Chuck Schumer, Montel Williams, Spartacus, Jimmy Kimmel, and people like that, the ignorant drones on the left not only celebrated Kirk's assassination, but immediately went out and vandalized makeshift memorials, wrecked services and vigils, tore down posters. This is how the Dems roll. This is what they think is okay. This is what the Dem elites want. This is what that piece of shit, George Soros, spends his money and yours creating. The most important footnote of the piece is right there. As with rioters, immigrant activists, Antifa poofs, the Soros organization has created and will continue to create little pockets of stupid, gullible, tribal drones. Their otherwise empty skulls are filled with hate. They are told to stand in front of the target of their hate and scream, fuck you, over and over. They are told disagreement is hatred. They are told to do everything they can to provoke cops, including spitting on them, pushing them, throwing stuff, and launching little fireworks at them. And all this is backed by useful, obedient idiots like Rachel Maddow or Joe Scarborough. The best I've heard from the mainstream left were remarks like, we shouldn't kill people for their opinions, not even Charlie Kirk. Included in such sentiments were often charges of racism and hate speech against Charlie. While mildly condemning the poof that killed Charlie, they used words like despicable when referring to Charlie. But the implied message is while killing him was understandable, even somewhat acceptable, yeah, you probably shouldn't do it. In fact, Charlie was the least deserving of assassination in the American political zoo. He was not a racist. He hated no one. He gave everybody a shot to voice their opinion. The only people he'd ever even raise his voice at were folks who led with lies and F-bombs while he was trying to facilitate an intelligent discussion. Charlie would immediately zero in on the lie or the phony complaint from the vulgar. He would demand just the tiniest sliver of evidence or reason. Always, the plaintiff would melt before our eyes and slither away from the microphone. That's as mean as he ever got. Beyond that, his message was always one of personal passion, wider compassion, and invitation. The lefties in politics and the media know this. They know Kirk didn't support fascism. They know he didn't hate anyone. Their only problem with Charlie is he made them all look stupid. An easy feat, an extremely low bar. So their emotions to seeing him killed ranged from glee to, meh, killing is bad, but, you know. Contrast that to the reaction they had at the douche Jimmy Kimmel getting suspended this week. Yet another late night show host with dying ratings. Even Colbert's ouster didn't spell salvation for Kimmel. There's a footnote. So Kimmel was already in a very weak position when he decided to insult half the nation, all of whom were experiencing some level of disgust with a murder. And he cited the murder to do it. And then he lied about it. Every week, I'll make a mention of epic stupidity uttered by lefties, usually lefties. I'm always left wondering, how can they get any more stupid? Then within a week, they show me. This week was just Kimmel's week. What did this silly jackass think would come of it? Syndicates do give a shit about who will watch their content and how they'll react. Being stupid, Kimmel didn't think that far ahead. He just wanted to spout off. I'm sure he thought he would be touted as brave or gutsy. And on the loony left, he was. It's too funny. It's so damn predictable. And here's the stupidest thing about Jimmy. He didn't do it because of how he felt about Charlie Kirk. This is all an outgrowth of his TDS. How everything to the right of center triggers the disorder. What a pussy. So the syndicates pulled the plug on him, and the Dem machine, the belly button of cancel culture, for over a decade, goes off as if Kimmel had been shot. If you think there is even a molecule of mitigation that might augur the least sympathy for Kirk's killer, and or you so much as lost your train of thought at Kimmel getting the hook, you are part of the problem. The left-wing lunacy, now far worse than it has ever been, is the reason your nation is dying. It is the fuel behind the Spambergers and the Mamdanis and the Crockett's and our political zoo. Do you want Sharia law in our cities? Do you want your kids being told as a matter of course, they can magically change their sex only to live in misery for the rest of their lives? Do you want piss boys to be seen as the new man? Would you enjoy more angry Karens having a voice and power over your life? Would you like to see DC go back to the crime rate from 2 months ago? Or are you happy with the number of kids getting shot in Chicago every year? Do you want the green scams to make a comeback? Do you want to send more of your tax dollars to George Soros and the Davos WEF cult? I guess I can boil all those questions down to one. Are you stupid? Of course, there is a mist of facetiousness over that question, but the question still stands. I know most of the people listening to have gotten this far are actually not stupid. Many who presently lean left have been snagged by the tribal or familial gravity of politics. In this, politics and religion are identical. You see the left's nonsense for what it is, but it's hard to break free. Between you and the lunacy is a guy in a nice suit with a glib line telling you not to worry about the rioters or race obsession. Even if you're white, don't worry that the loudest in your tribe are targeting you with the meanest of their vitriol. Just stand there and take it. They'll stop when we win. Don't worry about the ever-increasing Bronze Age bullshit being pushed by Muslim fanatics in the United States right now. Of course, if you have two brain cells to rub together, you know you should feel revulsion over all these things. Many middle-aged people who had little interest in politics or even leaned right all their lives now have their little sugar cookies coming home from college and telling them that the United States is imperialist and racist and greedy and vile. And in an effort to be a supportive parent, you abandon tested reason and believe every syllable that comes out of your freshly educated sugar cookie. By and large, that's been the order of things for a while until Charlie Cook. Now you're seeing cracks in the lefty philosophy. Fewer of your kids are being successfully indoctrinated by the commissars and apparatchiks masquerading as educators. You've been led to believe walking away from stupidity would be somehow racist, even if you are a minority. If you leave the left, you hate poor people, even if you built your own life despite the interference from your own tribe. If you leave, you'll lose friends or even your family, the most pathetic aspect of the modern left, and most religious cults. But the writing's been on the wall for some time. If you opt for reason over emotion, strength over victimhood, right over left, you might lose a friend. There's a footnote. Or give some family member the vapors. But many of them are just waiting for someone else to be the first. Many will follow. Many are sick of the constant headache of pretending to care about things and not fixing them. People respect resolve. They love positive results. The left only produces negative results among those they pretend to care about. Kids, minorities, the homeless, etc. But don't decide based on who might come along. Live your life for you and no one else. Never expect anyone to live theirs for you. Be a man, not a man bun. Be a woman, not an emotional shrew. Join those who celebrate the strong individual and not the bitchy collective.
Please tell a friend about the Free Zone Communiqué. We live and die with the share and subscribe buttons. Please use affiliate and sponsor buttons to support our work. Thank you very much for joining us today.